Episode 98: How to Set a PR Budget and What to Expect.
Welcome to the PR Playbook Podcast, the only podcast giving you actionable skills and advice you need to execute a strategic PR program. Warning: what you hear next may lead to brand awareness and increased sales and customer exposure. Now, here's your host, Rinjini Joshua.
Hello, welcome to episode 98. Today we're going to talk about how to set a PR budget and what to expect from that budget and kind of what to think about when you are paying for PR. So, the big question for many companies when factoring in marketing budgets, PR budgets, is that they don't really know how much to spend on PR, especially if it's the first time or they're concerned about ROI or how to quantify PR. Budgets for PR can really vary, but typically you're going to get what you pay for. So if you don't pay very much money, you probably won't get very good results. You're paying for strategy, experience, and results when you're paying for PR. So that's the first thing you really need to know when you're going into a PR conversation is you are looking for someone with your subject matter expertise, with contacts, which is a little bit less important than really strategy and basically their process of how they pitch and what they're going to be doing for you. Now, as PR has evolved and changed over the years, I typically really work with people and talk about their business goals and challenges because PR tactics can be built around that. So, we try to build tactics that are kind of a communication tactic rather than just traditional PR, media relations, earned media. We usually try to build programs and campaigns that can really address the business goals and challenges so that you could see the most ROI possible. So that's really what you want to look at. The more expertise they have, the more useful and strategic they can be with their time. And so budgets can really vary. Obviously, if you're working with a freelancer, you're going to start at a lower budget and you could probably get a little bit more for a little bit less. But then you're just working with a freelancer and you're kind of stuck with their experience. In my experience, working with a boutique firm is best, but the Silver Telegram is a boutique PR firm. So of course I'm going to say that. Working with big PR firms brings a lot of other capabilities and just a different kind of dimension depending on how big you need your program to be and what kind of resources you need. So there are benefits and drawbacks to each one of these types, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about budget. So what I would say is to get some pretty solid results to start moving the needle on your reputation, building brand awareness, building credibility and longevity for your brand, you're going to probably start at the $4,000 to $5,000 a month kind of stage. You might be able to go a little bit lower than that if you're working with a freelancer. So maybe 25 to 3,500 if you're working with a freelancer, but I would recommend that they are an experienced freelancer. Ask for their previous work, ask for their style, feel good about working with them. You really want to build a rapport with them. So you can get it. But remember, again, you're paying for time, expertise, and strategy. So the more you pay, the more results you should be getting. You need to know where the time is going. So, we've had people ask us to break it down all the way to, how much are you spending? How much time are you spending on each task? But typically, the way we do it is we'll say, okay, look, for this amount of money a month. So for $5,000 a month, you're going to get these basic deliverables every month. Now, typically, you're not going to get the same results every month. That's kind of impossible unless you duplicate everything you do every month. So that's probably not going to happen. What's going to happen is there's going to be an average of like a few different months. So like sometimes when people aren't sure about their PR budget, they're not sure how much to spend, what we end up doing is building a short-term campaign. And a short-term campaign is anywhere from 6 to 9 weeks, roughly a 3-month campaign. And we'll say, okay, look, for 3 months, we're going to do this project. These are the deliverables. And if, everything goes well, you like the way we work, we'll move on and graduate to an actual ongoing campaign that might be 6 or 12 months. And that's a really nice way to kind of feel out the agency. That's enough time to get some solid results. It's enough time to see if you guys work well together. I mean, think about if you had to bring on an employee and how long that would take. You're bringing on a team of people. Yes, they're experienced, they have contacts, they should know what they're doing, but there's still a learning curve. So really, really kind of factor that into what you're doing. Where is your time going? Also, PR agencies can do more than just media relations, right? They're doing content creation, they're doing strategy building, they're writing press releases, they're writing blogs, they might be managing your social media. So what I encourage you to do is really identify like how much are you willing to pay for each piece of this? And then come up with a budget from that and understand like all this stuff takes time. A lot of time I'm explaining to people that media relations isn't always an overnight success. Sometimes it is if we're lucky, but sometimes it takes 2 or 3 months to reach somebody. I can be sending an email and they'll respond 3 months later and say, "Hey, I'm working on a story now. I'd love to interview that client." And I have people contacting me from a year ago saying, "Hey, I'm working on this story. Are you still working with that company? Can you connect me?" And typically, even if we aren't working with them, we are goodwill. We want the best for any clients that we've ever worked with. So we will send and forward that opportunity to them. But that's just understanding that you have that media relations can sometimes happen very quickly if you have a really nice press release, product launch, something like that that's planned well. Or sometimes it takes a little bit of time to grease the wheel and you might be spending hours and hours on just getting this one media hit. I mean, I could tell you that building a story for Wired magazine takes a long time sometimes. They want to line it up with their editorial calendar. They want to line it up. It's all about timing, context, having the right people to interview, going through all those interviews, the processes. So, and then also timing also depends on what else is going on in the world. Look, we can't be so focused on just what we are doing as a company. You have to understand that there's things that are happening in the world that are newsworthy, things in politics, things in, international relations, things natural disasters. So there's all these other things that can interrupt the cycle. So again, realize that all these different tasks might take a little different period of time. And so you're paying for strategy, follow up, persistence, experience, and someone to actually get the job done and get the results for you. I will say that a good PR pro is considering all of this when they're pitching, selecting media relations, coming up with ideas. So essentially that's you're paying for that as well. You're paying for their experience in the industry. And then at the end of the day, I know as a customer, you are looking for results. So, how much is a quality article worth for you? Do you know how much traffic that's bringing? Are you measuring that traffic? So, if you've had success in the past and you say, "Hey, yeah, we did this PR and it was so good," then kind of identify like what was that process like? How long did it take? How much would you pay to replicate or duplicate that success? And so, if you have any questions, I mean, just like I said, a good starting budget is about $4,000 or $5,000 a month. You might be able to get a little bit cheaper for 25 to $3,500 if you're working with a freelancer as you're building out thought leadership campaigns, content creation. Content creation, it's like gas. It's become very expensive because you want to create quality content that's not too marketing or salesy. So that takes a little bit of time and effort. And so those prices are actually going up quite a bit. I could tell you, we work with a writer for one of the clients that we work on, and he writes a 2,000 word article and it costs us $3,000 a month just for one article. I will tell you, it is well written, well thought out, and definitely worth the money, but it is a lot of money. And that's just for one article. So imagine you're building a PR program that includes that one article. So that's $3,000 just for the article. What if you want to pitch? What if you want to write a press release? What if you want to do social media? So, factor that in. If you're not ready to spend the money, I suggest you don't like at least doing a 3-month project. Then I suggest try some tips from this podcast and do it yourself or hire a freelancer and try to do some smaller projects and or have the freelancer come up with a plan and say, "Hey, look, this is my budget." Don't hide the budget. I think that's the other thing is like people like to like play games. I'm very straightforward. Like do not hide your budget. If you tell people your budget up front, they'll tell you if they can work with you and what they can do with that. And I think that an experienced and a good PR person, you'll be able to feel that and that'll come across. So if you have any questions because you've never done PR before, let me know. You can email us at info@thesilvertelegram.com. If you have questions and you've done PR before and you're like, "Hey, look, this is the kind of campaign we're looking for. What do you think that will roughly go for with an experienced PR team?" I can give you some ideas on what that should look like for you. I will tell you, you go to a big agency, you're not going to get away under $10,000 a month unless there's a really particular reason they'd be cutting you a deal. You go for a boutique agency, you're going between five to $10,000 a month, depending on what kind of results you're looking for. A good agency will over deliver, under promise. And then if you need some a little bit more leg room and you have a smaller team and you just need someone to really be a part of your team and kind of function a little bit more loosely, then you might want to go with a freelancer. Upwork has a lot of great PR freelancers. You can even look up PR freelancer on LinkedIn and probably find one. But I will tell you, freelancers are hard to come by. We hire freelancers all the time to work on some of our projects, and right now it's like a little bit of a PR drought. There's a lot of demand for thought leadership and credibility building and reputation building. So, it might be better to go with a team so you can get better results and just kind of build a long term strategy. PR is not a short game. So, I hope this was helpful in how to set a PR budget and maybe what to expect. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us. Thanks for listening and talk to you next time.